Ride a course to Banbury Cross to see a fine lady upon a white horse, with rings on her fingers and bells on her toes. She shall have music wherever she goes. A goddess transcendent emerging from earth, encouraging harmony on the world's girth. Always she's there, but seldom is seen, a very fine lady, a very fine queen. Serenely she rides over meadow and vale, ensuring well-being to all on her trail, clad in a gown of the finest green moss, adoringly greeted at Banbury Cross.
Ouch, ouch! Get off, dog!
What's happening, Iris? Why is Scamp barking so much? Oh look, I can see him. He's chasing someone over towards the hall. It might be a spy. Quick, wake the others. I'll see if he's done anything to the mosaic. Look, I can see Scamp up there, but I can't see the spy anywhere, can you?
Carefully now, in case whoever it is hiding behind one of the gravestones. Oh, I'm frightened.
Oh, Percy!
Hey,
Percy!
what's going on? What are you doing here, Mrs. Cox? Ooh, that homemade wine of yours don't half pack a punch, Percy.
Oh, Percy! Percy, wake up! There's some trouble down at the hall. Mrs. Hitchens just phoned and said they got an intruder or something.
Aye? What? What's that? An intruder? Go on. Where's an intruder then?
Now just wake yourselves up and get a walk to the hall. It's an emergency.
Was that you say, Nora? An emergency? What? Down at the hole? Oh, come on, I'm just enjoying a bit of rest. Oh well, I'll just get me boots on then.
Well, I suppose I'd better hitch up the horse. Come on, Daisy.
Oh, Daisy. Steady there.
We've come as quick as we could, ma'am. What seems to be the trouble?
Well, Andrew says that we have an intruder somewhere in the grounds.
Yes, there is, and we chased him over here, but we didn't know where he is. I think I heard a noise in the church just now, though.
So you think he could still be in the church then, Master Andrew? Right. Well, it'd be best if you leave things to Mr. Cox and me. We don't want you getting hurt, do we? You best stay down here, out of harm's way.
All right, Mr. Garrett, but I do hope you're not going to let your guns off in the church.
Ma'am, not if we can help it, we won't. Percy and me have been trained in the Home Guard to deal with these sort of situations. We'll only use our guns if we got a ruthless spy on our hands.
All right, Mr. Garrett. I think perhaps you're overreacting, but I'll leave it in your good hands. I'm sure it's only a poacher we're dealing with because we really haven't got anything here at North Aston Hall to interest enemy spies, have we?
Percy, you can go round the back of the church from the stable side, and I'll stay this side. Keep dead quiet, and we'll nab him as he comes out.
Oh, all right, I give in.
Are you all right, Mr. Garrett?
I thought I'd got him, Mum, but it were only Percy.
Well, yes, it looks like you did, Mr. Garrett. But now I think you'd better let poor Mr. Cox get up, don't you?
Yes, Mum. Of course, Mum. Sorry, Percy.
On me, faster though, faster!
Mr. Garrett, don't shoot, or you might hit one of the children, or dogs, or Leon.
On me, faster though, faster!
Yes, Mum, I'm sorry. I suppose I was getting a bit carried away, but I reckon I could have picked him off just like these cowboys do on the flicks.
All right, Mr. Garrett, but you'd better come and help me saddle up Ermine as quickly as possible.
Hope you know what you're doing, Mum. Please be careful.
Oh, I'll be all right, Garrett. I don't suppose I'll be able to catch our intruder, but I must get Leon back, whatever happens. Tally-ho, Ermine!
Leon, mind that tree. Leon, I did that on purpose. Oh, my head, my head.
Oh no, help! Don't go that way, Mia. You idiot! Look out!
All right, Leon. Steady, girl. Come on now.
Did you catch him, Mum?
Well, no, I didn't, Mr. Garrett, but quite frankly, there was no way I could have tackled him myself. He was obviously a very determined man, and as you rightly pointed out, he might have been armed. Anyway, I was only concerned about Leon. I knew she wouldn't like having a stranger ride her and bareback as well, so I imagine she would have thrown him off somewhere. Anyway, no damage seems to have been done, unless, of course, he took something from the mosaic site. I suggest we all try and get some sleep now, what's left of the night. I'll take the horses back to the stable, Mr. Garrett, and perhaps you would kindly bed them down. Good night, everyone.
There you are. You're all in here. I was beginning to wonder where you all were. It's gone 10 o'clock, but I'm sorry if I've disturbed you.
Right, Mr. Wilkinson. We didn't get much sleep last night because we had an intruder. He might have taken something from the mosaic. We chased him, but he got away.
Really? I wonder why he was so interested in our mosaic. I'd better go and make sure it's all right.
Come here, boy. Let's see what the trouble is. He's got a bit of cloth stuck in his teeth. Hold still, boy, and I'll try and get it out. I reckon old Scamp must have got his teeth into the backside of that fella last night. Good boy, Scamp.
Yes, I think you're right. Something seems to have been removed from an area that we haven't excavated yet. I shall have to report this to Professor Summerton right away. I'll be back shortly.
There's someone coming up the lane who I don't recognise. He looks like an old tramp.
Good morning to you. Is Mr. Wilkinson about?
Not at the moment, Mr. O'Shea, but he'll be back soon. We had an intruder here last night who took something from the mosaic. We tried to catch him, but he got away on one of the horses.
Got away on one of the horses, you say? Well, I never.
Oh, there you are, Mr. O'Shea. I wondered what had happened to you. We waited half an hour for you in the usual place in Oxford this morning, but you didn't turn up, so I'm sorry if we left you behind.
Oh, no, sir. That's quite all right, sir. You see, I missed the last train back to Oxford last night. You see, sir, I went to see a friend of mine, and, well, we had a few jars too many. That's what we did, sir. I'm rather fond of the Guinness, sir. That I am, and, well, I fell in a duck pond, so I did. That's why I perhaps look a bit untidy this morning.
Oh, I see. Well, never mind, Mr. O'Shea. Accidents will happen, I suppose, so long as you didn't hurt yourself. Now, if you feel up to it, I will show you where I would like you to start another trench.
Right you are, sir.
Did you see that rip in Mr. O'Shea's trousers, Iris?
Yeah, I saw that, and they're the same colour as that bit of cloth that was stuck in old Scamp's teeth.
Well, I reckon he's the intruder we had here last night. I reckon Mr. O'Shea is a spy.
Well, he don't look much like a spy to me. But he said he went out with a friend last night and fell in the pond. He could have torn his trousers, then couldn't he?
I think the evidence we'd got shows he could be a spy, and I feel that we keep a close watch on him. Something was stolen last night, and whoever took it might have hidden it somewhere when we were chasing him. If it was Mr. O'Shea, he might try to get it back.
Yes, I think that's a good idea, Andrew. But I think we should take it in turns, keeping a watch on Mr. O'Shea. See what he's doing. But we'll have to be careful that he doesn't see us.
Yes, this is getting exciting. Can I keep watching Mr. O'Shea first? All right. The rest of us can search around to see if we can find what was stolen. I reckon it could be anywhere between here and the church.
Look, there's a door here, Andrew. I wonder where it goes to. Hey! Come here quickly! I think I found something. Josh, it's quite heavy. Look, it's got letters all over it. It's the whole alphabet. I wonder what they're for.
Let's go and show it to Mother now.
Goodness, what have you got there, Peter?
We don't know what it is, Mother, but we're sure it's what was stolen from the mosaic last night.
Well, it's very clever of you children to have found it, and I suppose it must be an important artifact if that man went to so much trouble to steal it.
We think it was Mr. O'Shea and that he'd spy, don't we?
Oh, come on now, Andrew. I really cannot believe that Mr. O'Shea could possibly be a spy. He's the last person I would suspect. I think you ought to be careful about accusing someone without any evidence.
But we have got some evidence, Mother. Scamp was chasing him last night, and we think Scamp bit his bottom.
Did what, Andrew?
He bit his bottom. Scamp had a bit of green cloth stuck in his teeth this morning, and when Mr. O'Shea arrived, we noticed that he got a rip in his trousers, which are the same colour green.
Excuse me, Marm, but there's Professor Summerton here to see you.
Oh, really, Mrs. Cox? I wasn't expecting him, but please do show him in. Oh, good morning, Mortimer. Please do come in.
Oh, good morning, Hermione. Excuse my voice, I've got a bit of a cold. Hello, everyone. Well, I'm sorry to call on you unannounced like this, Hermione, but Mr. Wilkinson telephoned me this short while ago about something that was stolen from the excavation site last night. We really must do everything we can to get it back, because I have reason to believe it is a very valuable artifact.
Well, you might not believe this, Mortimer, but the children have already recovered the object that was stolen last night. There it is.
Well, goodness me! That's unbelievable! How on earth did you manage that, children? Oh, well, you have no idea what this means to me, children. This has taken a weight off my mind, because since you discovered the mosaic, I have been asked by the War Office to keep them informed about any important artefacts found. They were extremely concerned this morning when I reported the stolen artifact, because it seems that it could be of national importance. Apparently, enemy agents are engaged in espionage in this area, and it seems one of them managed to steal it earlier.
We think Mr. O'Shea is a spy, Professor.
Really? What makes you think Mr. O'Shea could be a spy?
Well, you know we had a spy here last night. Well, when Mr. O'Shea came this morning, he had a rip in his trousers, and we think it was done by Iris's dog Scamp, who's got the same colour material stuck in his teeth as well.
You could be right, I suppose. It was Mr. Wilkinson who recommended him for the job. Oh, but he's the last person I would suspect of being a spy.
That's exactly what I said, Mortimer. I'm afraid the children do have rather vivid imaginations.
Yes, I know what you mean, Hermione. Anyway, in view of what has just happened, I think perhaps it is now necessary to acquaint you all with more information about what's going on. Up until now, I have been strictly forbidden by the War Office from telling anyone about Operation Capstone. If it is all right with you, Hermione, I should like to convene a meeting here this morning.
Yes, of course, Mortimer. That's quite all right.
It concerns a flying machine from antiquity that is thought to have been flown to this country from Egypt by the Romans. This is what the boffins have told me.
Excuse me, Marm, but Mr. Smith's here and wants to see you about a garden fete or something.
Oh, very well. Please show him in, Mrs. Cox, but ask him to make it quick, because we're in the middle of a meeting.
Oh, I must apologise for interrupting you, everyone. I am sorry, Mortimer. I had no idea you were conducting a meeting here today. It's just that my dear lady wife is organising a garden party at the vicarage to raise funds for the WVS. It's all right, though. I can come back another time.
No, it's quite all right, Smith. Please do join us. Now you're here, you might find what I'm about to explain very interesting, because it involves the Great Pyramid. This is highly secret stuff from the War Office, codenamed Operation Capstone.
Great Pyramid, you say, Mortimer? How exciting. Yes, I should very much like to hear about this.
Right, well, sit yourself down then.
Well, Smith, I've just been telling everyone how important it is that the information I give you this morning must not go beyond these four walls. I was just saying how difficult it is to believe it myself, but I have been informed that Operation Capstone has been orchestrated to discover the whereabouts of a flying machine from antiquity that was apparently flown to this country by the Romans. The Boffins are particularly interested in its method of propulsion for possible use in the war effort.
Good heavens, Mortimer, that's quite incredible.
Yes, Smith, I agree. It does seem incredible. But even more so is their theory that this machine originally came from outer space and once had its landing platform on top of the Great Pyramid, where it was refueled with something called megalithium.
Well, that comes as no surprise to me, Mortimer, because I discovered a similar theory quite recently myself. I also found a reference to megalithium, which apparently is some sort of energy stored in stones, believe it or not.
Now, this all started 2 years ago when I was asked to attend a high-level meeting in the War Office. I was told that in 1942, during a battle in the desert at Al Alamein in Egypt, that the British Army captured an enemy officer by the name of General Jasper von Goffin Fogg. They found in his possession an ancient clay tablet that gave details of a mysterious flying machine. When the clay tablet was found, it seems that the general managed to photograph it before he was captured. Consequently, our enemies know about the possible existence of the Pyramidion and are also trying to find it. I've also been told that spies are trying to gain information about another machine being used in the war effort called a computer. Has anyone ever heard of a computer?
Well, yes, as a matter of fact, I do happen to know a bit about it, Mortimer. It's supposed to be hush-hush, but one called Colossus has been developed not many miles from here. This one is being used in the war effort, and it is my belief that one day computers could even affect our future society.
Well, that's interesting, Smith. But how do you know about this Colossus if it's supposed to be a secret?
Aha, yes, Mortimer. Well, perhaps that was a bit rash of me, but let's just say that I got it from a higher authority and leave it at that, shall we? I couldn't help noticing that box-like object over there, Mortimer. Is it something you've excavated from the temple site?
No, it's something we found in the church this morning, Mr. Smith. We had a spy who stole it last night, and we managed to get it back.
Well, that was extremely clever of you, children. I find it difficult to believe that we have spies in our midst here in North Aston, especially as we have such an astute body of men in our local Home Guard. Although we did have a rather embarrassing incident recently. We thought we were engaging the enemy the other evening, but it turned out that we were exchanging fire with the Home Guard platoon from Duns Tew. Good thing that none of them are very good shots, because nobody got hurt. We held an armistice in the White Horse pub afterwards, though, which was very jovial. Yes, I was just wondering what those letters and numerals are on it for. Does it open...
No, we've tried, but we can't. We'll look at it again later. But why do you ask?
Oh, not for any particular reason, Mortimer. As you know, I'm always interested in mechanisms such as I use in my model railway. It did occur to me that it looks like a sort of keyboard.
I suppose you're going to suggest it's some sort of Roman computer next, eh, Smith? Well, I can assure you that there is absolutely no archaeological evidence of the Romans inventing a computer. Anyway, when I pass it over to the Boffins, I've no doubt they will discover what it is. Well, that's all I can tell you for now, everyone. I have to get back to the museum. But I've got a couple of minutes if anyone has a question to ask.
I would like to know where the Pyramidion came from in the first place, Professor.
Well, that's a very difficult question to answer, Peter. And the short answer is that no one knows. As I said earlier, the Boffins think it could have come from outer space. Something like the flying saucers we sometimes hear about.
Well, if they think it came from outer space, Mortimer, Have they suggested who the pilot might have been? After all, it must have had one, and probably a crew as well.
Tell me, Mortimer, why should the, what did you call them, boffins, think that this Pyramidion is anywhere near North Aston? Because that's the impression I get.
Oh yes, that's a good point, Hermione. Well, the recent discovery of the mosaic has excited the boffins because North Aston lies exactly on the central axis between ley lines which run along two extremities of England.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Mortimer, you think that North Aston is sitting on the top of this imaginary pyramid?
Well, yes, Hermione, the boffins seem to think that a pyramid can be constructed using Colchester and Lincoln for the baseline, and North Aston lies at the apex.
Come now, Mortimer, if we are sitting on the top of a pyramid, just how high do you think we are then?
All right, I agree, it does sound very unlikely, but this imaginary pyramid would be about 75 miles high.
Well, do forgive me, Mortimer, but I can't help thinking that you're pulling my leg.
Well, as you know, Hermione, we archaeologists can be a sceptical bunch, and I must confess I won't believe any of this unless some really tangible evidence turns up. As a matter of fact, one of my assistants at the museum found something that could be relevant. It was about a mysterious, luminous flying object that was observed by the Radcliffe Observatory for several minutes when it flew over Oxford in June 1864. By calculating its rate of descent and direction, which was due north, it was thought it may have landed in the Banbury area, but nothing was ever found there. However, shortly after this event in 1864, a local farmer in Somerton said he had found a pyramid-shaped object when he was ploughing. He claimed that somehow it had made his cows dance. Well, it turned out this farmer had the reputation of being a bit eccentric and also spent a lot of his time in the local pub, so he wasn't taken very seriously.
I think Mr. O'Shea has taken that bit of paper with the code on that we worked out. I can't see it anywhere. Quick, let's follow him. But don't let him see us. I bet he's gone to collect that box, but won't he get a surprise when he finds it gone? Look, there he goes. Come on, let's follow him. But let's go carefully.
Well, the professor warned us that spies can be dangerous, so I think I'll go and tell Mother what's happened. I'll go and see if she's back from lunch, and you two keep watch here. Is Mother back from lunch yet, Mrs. Cox?
No, I haven't seen her, Master Andrew.
Well, we're sure that Mr. O'Shea is a spy, and he's just gone into the church to collect what he stole from the mosaic last night. Except he can't, because we've already got it.
I mean, he's the one that gave my husband Percy a black eye, and he's still not feeling too good.
Yes, and I think we should get Mr. Garrett and the Home Guard over to help.
But Mr. Garrett's just gone over to Dunn's Chew to see old Robert Craig, the village bobby, to tell him what happened here last night.
Sleuth! That means we might have to tackle Mr. O'Shea by ourselves then.
Oh no, Master Andrew, I don't think you should do that.
Well, can you phone PC Craig and tell him to come over straight away, Mrs. Cox?
It's all right then if you say so, Master Andrew, but just you be careful.
Okay, let's see if we can find out what he's up to. He's probably searching for that box.
I wonder where he's gone. I can't see him in here anywhere, can you?
I reckon the only place he can be is up in the belfry then. Come on, but go quietly.
Hey, hello there. Playing at soldiers, are we?
No, we're not. We know you're a spy, and we've called the police.
Oh, have you now? Well, if you'll just let me get down those stairs, no one will get hurt.
Stay where you are, or you'll get the sword in you. Quick! Why don't you go down and see if the police are here yet?
We've just caught Mr. O'Shea in the belfry, sending a Morse code message, and Andrew's holding him prisoner. But he needs some help, quick!
You've caught O'Shea sending a Morse code message. All right, my boy, we'll soon sort this out. Have the police been called?
Yes, sir. PC Craig should be on his way.
Good. Well, under the circumstances, Hermione, I think it would be safer for you to stay here, don't you?
Well, yes, Professor, I agree, but I'm more concerned about Andrew. I think I'll go and make sure the police have been called. Do be careful, all of you.
That's where we've got him trapped. Up there, Professor.
All right, my boy, we'll soon sort this out.
Well, Mr. O'Shea, who would have thought that you could be a spy? You fooled me into thinking you were an upstanding citizen when I interviewed you for the job. But you didn't manage to outwit these children, did you?
No, that I didn't. The little beggars.
Come now, Mr. O'Shea, there's no need for that. Well done, boys. You've caught a spy, and with a radio as evidence, too.
Hello, hello. I'm PC Craig, sir, and who might you be, sir?
I'm Professor Somerton from the Ashmolean Museum, officer.
All right, sir. I'll take care of that if you don't mind, sir. We don't want anyone getting hurt if we can help it, do we, sir?
No, of course not, officer.
Now it looks like you've been caught red-handed, me lad. Would you mind bringing the evidence, sir?